Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Okay, folks, at the time of recording, Bitcoin is at $75,000. So we continue to see more downward pressure. But the good signs are on the daily chart, we are extremely oversold. The RSI is turning red right now. That's how extreme it is. And it's certainly below 30, right? So if you know your textbook when it comes to markets, anything 30 and below is oversold. Anything above 70 is overbought. So we can expect some sort of reversal, although it could chop around here for the next week. So just the timing is always the hard part, because no one has a crystal ball, but we can use these signals, which again are textbook, and you can get an idea of where the market may go next. So I think some sort of bounce is due. We are extremely, extremely oversold, and there's a lot of fear. And even on the weekly chart, we are essentially touching the oversold zone here for the RSI. So that's a good sign that some sort of relief is coming. The question is, we've been talking about, and I know a lot of you are going to say, Tony, it looks like, what you're talking about, the thesis of this continuing to new highs is looking less probable. And sure, that's certainly possible. I've told you guys, if this thing breaks certain support levels, then yeah, that's it. We're going to keep going down. It's just like the previous market cycles, 4 years and so forth. Though the macro is a bit different this time around. So we're going to have to wait and see, folks. Obviously, do what you need to do in the market. I'm just sharing the data and the facts with you, and we'll see where things go. But, both the daily and the weekly oversold, so some sort of bounce will be coming. And to add to that, the 2-week RSI closed right above the zone where all major bear market bottoms have been found. So that's how low it is. So it's not your traditional bull market and it's not your traditional bear market here. So again, we're looking for a bounce, and let's see how this plays out. A good sign as well is that retail is starting to capitulate. So when you look at the wallet addresses, and this is data I've shared from Sentiment as well, retail is going down, they're capitulating, and the whales are accumulating. These things have preceded rallies, right? And if you've been catching my episodes with Brian from Sentiment, we exactly talk about these things. And I'm waiting for Sentiment to update their data tomorrow, once the weekend data comes in. And I'll share that with you all, and we'll see which direction things are going. Because if retail keeps accumulating and whales are distributing, then that's not good. But the positive sign, again, the whales are accumulating, retail is starting to capitulate. So I don't make the rules, guys. This is just how things function. And when you look at the data, it's very eye-opening. So we shall see what happens. And look, not a good sign is Jim Cramer is talking a lot about Bitcoin and crypto. He's been tweeting nonstop. And one of the things he said today was, with Bitcoin at $77,000, I figure the buyers come in all at once to move it back above 82,000. So if he's saying anything bullish, that's not good. It's bearish, right? So we could be in for a rough Monday or rough week. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. And look, a lot of people are taking losses. So the infamous hyper unit whale exits entire ETH position for $250 million loss, left with $53 in the account, according to Arkham, so on-chain data. The trader linked to former Bitforex CEO Garrett Jin has closed out their entire leverage Ether position on Hyperliquid, realizing a total loss of approximately $250 million. The account now holds just $53, a stunning collapse of a whale who famously profited $200 million by shorting Bitcoin and Ether ahead of the October 2025 tariff-driven market crash. The exit marks a dramatic reversal of fortune for the trader, who had built up an ETH long position worth over $700 million in recent months. So even some big players getting wiped out here. But despite this, the bigger theme, though, of crypto and the long-term view, the macro, is still intact, where you have VC funding is ramping up. So a report coming out here says VC roundup, crypto funding rebounds as institutions test on-chain finance. So we know that despite the market volatility, big players are building and investing. You got TradFi also building and investing. So let me give you the details here. Venture capital and institutional money flow are flowing back into the digital asset companies at the start of 2026, with industry data showing $1.4 billion committed across venture rounds and public market listings. The largest transactions included Visa Link stablecoin issuer Rain, which reached a $1.9 billion valuation after raising $250 million, and crypto custodian BitGo's $200 million plus IPO on the New York Stock Exchange in January. So these are good signs, right? That we are seeing investments still happening. And with all of the adoption news we've been seeing of last year, even to the early into this year with TradFi and much more, I don't think anybody's dismayed by the market volatility because look, gold and silver are crashing. The stock market's not looking that great. So we're going to have these volatile moments. And if you have the macro view, it's going to work out well for you, right? But if you panic and you're emotional and you're buying into pumps and then you're selling into weakness and blood on the streets, then you're doing it wrong. You want to be doing the opposite, right? Buying the blood in the street and selling the pumps and the euphorias. So again, I think this is a very positive sign that big institutions continue to have the long-term view and investing in the crypto companies and tokens. Folks, this episode is brought to you by VeChain, which is one of the top layer one enterprise blockchains out there. They're getting adoption from many big brands and companies around the world who are building Web3 technologies. I'm a VET token holder. I have been since 2018. I'm very bullish on this project. And Dana White and the UFC are partnering with VeChain, and they're doing some cool things. Last year, Dana White said he purchased $1 million in VET tokens. And some of the key features of the VeChain blockchain includes it is scalable, secure, fast, compliant, and purpose-led. And they're doing some really cool things. And the VET token, you can actually stake that via Stargate and VeChain, working with Boston Consulting Group, PwC, Walmart China, BMW, and many other big brands and companies. So if you'd like to learn more about VeChain, go to vchain.org. Link will be in the description. Now, guys, we got some interesting reports coming out here that a UAE sheikh secretly acquired 49% of Trump's World Liberty Financial days before the inauguration. Man, I've been saying overall, Donald Trump has been a net positive for crypto because, he has changed the environment, pushed for legislation and much more. But I wish he would have held off on doing all these things because it's just a horrible look. I've said it many times. The optics are bad, and we're trying to get legislation done. You could imagine the likes of Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats are going to push back on this. Whether it ultimately stops the Clarity Act from passing, I don't know. But it really adds fuel to the fire for people to be anti-crypto because of Trump, right? We know how politics works. And it gives Elizabeth Warren and these people who are trying to kill crypto to or hand over control to the banks to really come after us. And this really sucks. I think it's like we take steps forward, but we take steps backwards when Trump does something with crypto like this. And I've been on record. I'm not a fan of the meme coin. That's not a political statement, whatever it is. I'm an independent, and whether it be Democrat or Republican, whoever is doing it, I don't believe they should. Right? It would have been awesome if Trump just came into office, didn't launch any crypto businesses, coin and all these things, and just started getting things going. And then once things are passed, he launches his business, right? Or his kids. But it's like they got so greedy, must launch Trump coin, must launch this ETF, must launch World Liberty Financial, must do an airdrop on Truth Social, all these things. It's like, come on, man, like chill out, right? Melania coin, Baron coin, all that stuff just, I think, hurt the market a lot, grabbed a lot of liquidity away from other altcoins. So again, overall, though, it was obviously really, really tough, and many crypto companies are feeling the pain under Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren. But now you have another kind of pain, but overall, I think net positive. But I wish stuff like this was not going on because it really, really hurts the reputation of the crypto industry. So let me give you some details. An Abu Dhabi investment vehicle backed by the UAE National Advisor or Security Advisor Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, oh my God, purchased a 49% stake in World Liberty Financial for $500 million, according to the Wall Street Journal. The deal was signed 4 days before Trump's January 2025 inauguration and never publicly disclosed. Half was paid up front, with $187 million going to the Trump family entities and at least $31 million to entities tied to the Middle East. Envoy Steve Witkoff's family. Eric Trump signed the agreement, among others. So Tahnoon has pushed the U.S. for access to powerful AI chips. The Trump administration has pledged to sell 500,000 powerful chips to the UAE annually, according to Tanoon's company G42. So this comes across as a massive bribe, right? I'm going to buy some of your World Liberty financial tokens. Just give me access. Man, I hope things like this do not block the Clarity Act from going through. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or independent like me. I mean, we got to call stuff out, like this. It's not good, man. Bad optics and all these things. But we shall see what happens. And there's even a report, Elizabeth Warren is ready to take this details and what's happening here and use it against crypto. And let's see if she's able to rally people behind her to block the bill. I hope not, but it might be easy for her to say, "See, I told you guys. See, right? It's since the beginning, and right before the inauguration." So this is just bad. All right, moving ahead. Hong Kong is positioning itself as crypto's global connector, says lawmaker Johnny NG. So we've been talking a lot about it. Hong Kong is controlled by China. I believe China is using Hong Kong as a testing bed. They are building up their crypto services, ETFs, regulations, and much more. And I believe mainland China will eventually open up the ETFs to their citizens because it helps protect them from capital flight, where currency leaves the country, right? And they can put in that ETF wrapper. So keep an eye on Hong Kong. They've also been working on a lot of crypto legislation, rules, and much more. So I think a lot of people are coming out and recognizing what's happening. And on the topic of China, Chinese President Xi Jinping calls for the yuan to become a global reserve currency. So China is watching what's happening here in the United States. They're watching the dollar get weak, and now they're saying, hey, back our currency as the world reserve currency. We know there's been a lot of geopolitical talks and, kind of Cold War type tactics happening with these big superpowers and people trying to bypass the dollar. And if you're wondering why gold has been going crazy, it's because the central banks, China and so forth, they've been buying. So I think China's what they're trying to do is get as much gold as possible, back their currency with that gold, and present it to other people. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm just telling you what's happening. And of course, they have the digital yuan, so they have the digital version. And there's talks of them trying to push that into different economies, like in certain countries in Africa where they're doing development. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to go out and say, "Hey, look, our currency is backed by gold. We're back on some sort of gold standard here. Use it," right? But again, that doesn't mean people will, but I'm just letting you guys know what's happening. Now, Cody Carbone, who is the CEO of the Digital Chamber, I've had him on in the pod many times. He said in response to this news that the Genius Act was critical because of this right here. USD-backed stablecoins will ensure the dollar remains the world reserve currency. So I think he's right that the fact that we have the Genius Act and big banks and many others can launch stablecoins is a good thing to help maintain the US dollar. But China and their partners and other global leaders are watching all these things. And if China is going to go out and say, "Hey, we have a digital yuan backed by gold and all that jazz, use this versus the US dollar." Again, I'm not saying I want that. I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm just saying this is what's happening, and we'll see how it all plays out. All right, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. The link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. Grab a copy. It's available in paperback and digital. And my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto and blockchain. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.